Afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Burning Questions, where we'll have a look at Swan Hill Cup night tonight as well as Melton tomorrow. I've assembled an all-star cast. We might start with Victoria's newest Group 1 winning driver, Emmett Brosnan. Emmett, welcome to Burning Questions and welcome to the family.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Group 1 winning driver, how does that sort of sit with you and sit on the resume?
I mean, I suppose when you start driving, you aim to win a race, and then your next goal is to win a Group 1. So it took me a little while, but we got there. So yeah, pleased with it.
Yeah, lovely. I told you before, I've got a couple of questions just to there might be a couple of people out there who don't know you, so we're going to get you to know you on a little bit of a deeper level.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Pork ribs.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, good one. Stand By Me.
Okay, great. Yeah. I remember that one. And favorite horse you ever driven?
Ever driven?
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose I've got to throw Vetus in there, don't I?
Yeah, good one.
This probably Flame Flutter.
Lovely. Yep. Yeah, cool. We'll move to a man who's won, 140 Group 1s, Chris Alford. We've had a bit of technical issues, but we're back. Welcome, Chris.
Good afternoon.
Do you remember your first Group 1, Chris?
Yeah, Golden Rain.
Okay, yep. A superstar. And finally, for form guru, analysis expert, Brett Carroll joins us. You showed us a little horse before, Brett. I don't know if that's going to win a Group 1, but he looks quicker than some of the horses I bet on.
Best bet Saturday night. It'll be there. Don't worry.
Cool. I think he's already stuffed. Thanks for joining us, gents. We'll look at Melton as well as Swan Hill tonight. Our first sponsor is Logical Staffing Solutions. Logical Staffing Solutions provides labour hire and recruitment services to the transport, warehousing, automotive and manufacturing industries. The logical solution for your staffing needs. We'll look at Melton first. The first race on the card is the High Gain 4-year-old and 5-year-old Championship, which is a Group 3 event. Catch a Wave is set for a New Zealand raid. He is the best on paper, or can we be swayed? Chris, you've got Can't Find a Better Man for Isabel Walsh. Might leave you to last. Emmett, I think I did a bit of form on this one. Sort of probably shortened it down to 3 runners. Catch a Wave, Can't Find a Better Man. You can't find a Perfect Class as well in there. How do you sort of see this race playing out? Obviously drawn wide on the back row as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's Catch a Wave. He's a big dog in the race, isn't he? Really. He definitely can't. Can't Find a Better Man. Even Exotic Bushranger. There no pushovers. But I think from the horses that he's been racing, and he's been racing the best fields you've been able to put together. So for me, sort of has to make it happen from wherever. So yeah. Yeah,
the wide barrier draw, Brett, sort of opens it up a little bit. They'll I suppose Chris will be in the middle of them. He'll eye both James Herbertson and Kate Gath off here. We had a bit of a chat yesterday. We narrowed it down to 3. Is there anyone else that we sort of maybe missing a little bit, Brett?
I don't think so. I think these 3 are so far ahead. That's the conditions of the race. The ratings go from 61 to 120, and the ones down the bottom are drawn that way for a reason. It's a preferential draw. So dead set 3-horse race. I'd probably be happy to. You can bundle bet Perfect Class and Can't Find a Better Man for $1.84, 2 against 1. I just think they're all. I think that's probably a pretty good bet because Catch a Wave's got to wait behind both of those 2, and I know it's capable, but I think from a percentage point of view, it's going to be difficult. And traditionally, his record at this track's not brilliant from that draw, especially.
Last 2 runs, obviously Smoking Up and Sportsbet Victoria Cup, sort of back of the field finishes. Had a chat to Andy yesterday. I think there might be a bit of a Melton hoodoo. I suppose you'd go back 3 runs. You look at the Len Smith and Menangle. Viewing speed maps and things like that, if Young Bluey sort of flies the gate, which we know he can do a little bit, does that sort of provide, I suppose, a little bit more options and gives those 3 a little bit more of a chance to sort of move forward if the opportunity presents?
Oh, definitely. So Can't Find a Better Man with Chris's driving comes out behind Young Bluey. So I guess Chris will have a bit of a think about what he might do. If he can get in front of Perfect Class or not, he might be able to do that. Obviously, it's easier from here. So I'll let Chris answer that question.
Chris, do you want to take the floor on that one? I suppose you have all the cards on this one.
It's a tricky race. As we all know, Catch a Wave's a great horse, but he seems to be a great horse not at Melton. Interstate, he's a king, and he just seems to, for some reason, whether it's because he's trained 10 minutes up the road and trials at Melton a lot, he just doesn't seem to win there that often. And perfect class is going to be hard to beat. I'm not sure that I can get in front of him at the start, and the way he likes to bully him, he'll probably end up finding the front.
Obviously, that young Bluey sort of situation pops its head as well. Is it a go back, or do you sort of wait on young Bluey to make a decision? Because I think that first sort of 400 metres of this race is going to be pretty vital.
Yeah, well, sometimes it can be a bit suicide to try and punch through from so wide on the back row. So we'll just let him find his feet. Like, he broke the clock last week running 53.5. So if there's any, fast lead time or good tempo through the middle, he'll still get home strong.
In terms of Can't Find a Better Man's progress and things like that, you've had a really good run, sort of coming with those one runs. How have you sort of seen him develop, I suppose?
Yeah, I think that's his best pattern. He's never really had a good enough draw to see if he can come off the gate and find a spot. So we're in the same boat again Saturday.
Brett, what Puppets just said there, does that sort of fill you with any confidence, or does that sort of paint a clearer picture for you?
Not really. I mean, I was sort of how I was feeling about the race anyway. Bit not sure, but I honestly have 10 and 11 both ahead of Catch a Wave. So I'm not knocking the horse. Obviously, I love the horse, but as Chris was saying, his record interstate is a lot better than it is here for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like might be a bit of a Melton hooter, but he heads up to New Zealand on Wednesday just after the Melbourne Cup. So that'll provide to be a bit of gives him an opportunity, and he gets away from Melton as well. Second sponsor for the night is Pride's Easy Feed. Pride's Easy Feed stands as a proud supporter of the harness racing industry with their set recipes and quality ingredients to give their trainer confidence in what they're feeding. So make the switch to Pride's and start getting the results you've been chasing. Question 2. He's a hammer, galloped last start, so can he bounce back to the top of the chart? We might leave you last in this one, Emmett, but Chris, how do you sort of view this one in race 4? You don't have a drive here, but there's a couple of really, really good options in this one.
Yeah, it's pretty even sort of field. As you said, Emmett's horse made a break last start, so only Emmett will know if that's going to be an ongoing problem, but he seems to be a really progressive horse. He's probably up a little bit in grade. But in saying that, for a 60 to 69, it's not the strongest field you've ever seen.
Yeah, there's a couple of options. I suppose there was a race last week, Avant-Garde, Destriere was sort of the surprise packet at Melton last start. Came over about $101 or something like that. Draws the one, sort of helps it a little bit. Brett, how do you sort of see this one playing?
Yeah, I think I concur with Chris. It's probably a decent race, but 60 to 69, that means there's probably half a dozen horses that are a bit better than the rest of them that are probably going to keep progressing. But I think, Who's the Hammer's obviously on the way up, so he's going to be better than 66 in short enough time. King's Guard's a horse that he's at his peak now. He's just a really tough trier. He just takes a while to get fit, and I think he's fit now. So he's probably my top pick, but it's a pretty hard race.
Yeah, and we might throw it off to you. Last start, the Gallop, how's work been, I suppose, and how do you sort of see your chances in this one?
Yeah, I mean, made a couple of changes, which seem to have helped. His work's been really good. But yeah, again, in his situation, he started off this campaign with 2 years off and probably less than 10 starts under his belt. So he's no veteran, but he has got ability. He will be. I think he feels like a horse that's going to go beyond this grade. It's just whether it happens right now. But he's got a really good finish on him. He showed that at Maryborough, second up. So if he puts it all together, and he's not too far behind him, he should, with a bit of clear air, should finish off pretty nicely. Not too worried.
What was the reason for him? Sorry, Emmett. What was the reason for him galloping last time, by the way?
Yeah, look, 1,700 metre start. He just never felt like he got right in a good, and it was really second up because first start he made a mistake out of the gate. So it was really the second start sort of hoodoo. He did do it once or twice in a trial. Just so like I said, he's probably not nailed down 100% right now. I'm probably still working him out a little bit as well, but he certainly has ability.
Sort of from the draw 8, you've got that Destria who sort of, I don't know if you had it, Brett, in your numbers, but came out and wanted about $75, draws the 1 for Lisa Miles. Is that just a trail run from there, do you feel?
Yeah, hopefully. Even at Melton, like even if he's 3 back, I won't be too concerned. Especially like in an even field like this, if someone's going to have to do it tough. So if it opens up, trail would be great. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, Brett, is that a sort of a similar situation? Do you feel like Destria just, I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but do you think she just has an easy run to the front there and it's just a trail run?
Destria has a chance of handing up to Avant-Garde because that's what it did last start when it won. So Emmett would probably, as he's saying, happy to be 3 fences. It's a pretty deep sprint lane at Melton, and the trotters tend to spread out a bit. So I think Emmett's probably happy to cop 3 fence and get his chance. And I think with those horses, there's enough horses in this race to suggest the tempo will be solid. I can't see it being a 65 half sort of race, to be honest.
Yeah, no, fantastic. We might move on to our next question. City Rockstar has drawn well, so can he win and give them hell? We're talking about the 5th race, goes at 8:56, the Cat and Hatch Jewelers Pace. Chris has the drive on the Luke Tabone prepared City Rockstar, drawn 2. I might go with you, Emmett. It sort of seems like a bit of an opener one, this one as well. You've also got Seve as well as coming off a break for Andy Gaff.
Yeah, interesting one. Like City Rockstar is a gate speed. So looks like he, looking at it off paper, it looks like he should get a reasonably cheap lead. But he'll need to because he probably doesn't have the mile rate under his belt compared to Sevi. So but I'm sure if he gets to the front without too much fuel and then can just lock it down to the half and make it a race from the half, then absolutely that could happen. But yeah, Sevi very well at Melton and he does have a quick mile rate under his belt.
Chris, we might go to you next. I think it was Cranbourne a couple of starts ago, early September. Drew the similar barrier and sort of hit to the front. Is that how you sort of feel like you'll use them up this week? Use a bit of that gate speed that we know he's got.
Yeah, well, probably hasn't been quite as good as what I thought she'd be her last few starts, but paced pretty hard at Kilmore and burnt pretty hard off the gate. So looks like she's going to get a pretty easy lead. And the main dangers look to be off the back row, which is always hard for them over 1,700.
Yeah, Brett. I suppose we've got City Rockstar, but there's one at odds here in Carnes Creed who just throws a couple of different options out there. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure Chris will get an easier lead as what he would like to. His old mate Johnny Calder, I reckon, is going to come out humming on Carnes Creed. So hopefully they'll get into a bit of a war because that's fun because I'd tip something else in the race. So no, I don't know. For mine, City Rockstar's a bit poorly graded. She's a 3-year-old filly, and I think just the quirk of the handicapping system. 3-year-olds that win a couple of races, all of a sudden they go up to 64 or whatever, and then you get some pretty almost genuine, good city class horses that are dropping points because they've been running in good races. So like Kenny's Butterfly ran in the South Australian Pacing Cup heat, then ran in the Mayor's Classic against Gilby Willow and Akira Rebel last start, and it's the same rating more or less as City Rockstar. So I've got to go with the class on that, and I'm not sure of the map, but I think there's enough tempo here that City Rockstar's up against it purely on a grading point of view. Yeah.
Chris, you sort of said she's not as good as you thought she was. What do you sort of put that down to? And I suppose does this race sort of are we a little bit up against it? I suppose what Brett said there a little bit.
Oh no, just the fact Luke and Jeff have moved to a new farm and they're still just figuring out their track and stuff like that. So the last since her last run or just before that, they've been sticking a bit more work into her, and I think that'll improve her.
Yeah, that sort of early speed battle there with that Carnes Creed as well. Does that sort of pose any questions, more questions than answers, I suppose?
Well, John will probably go forward, but I doubt he could get within half a length of like crossing her. So I don't know how far he'd want to press on, but we'll work it out when it comes to the first turn.
Yeah, Brett, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it should be. It's good for the race, I think. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Sevi. He's first up. I know he trialled well, but he's a bit of a quirky character. I'm not sure he's going to enjoy drawing the back row of a mile. He just looks like a bit of a moody type to me. I'm not sure. He could be a bit fresh. So him and another Yen are going to need a fair bit of pace on, I would have thought. But yeah, I think the first 400 is going to be interesting. And I like Kenny's Butterfly, but I'm not exactly sure where it's going to end up, which is a bit of a silly tip, isn't it? You know. So yeah, it's a confusing race.
Yeah, fantastic. No, it's good insight there, and I think there is that early speed battle there with the Philip Attard, Trent Carnes, Creed. I might move on to the next one, which sees Chris. Spirit of Arion has drawn 5, so is he good enough to do a winning jive? Emmett, we might go to you at this one. Couple of good I suppose everyone's good on their day, but Spyglass was a little bit disappointing last start. But how do you sort of see this one playing out?
Yeah, wow. That's probably a little bit rough on Spyglass. Like it took off, sort of had to go at the 500 or 600 and run into a 26 quarter. So, it's not going to have to do that this week. It's interesting to see just how this will play out at the start. Will probably determine what happens. But I mean, I like Spirit of Arion. I think the stable, like the Walsh stable's in really good touch at the moment. So I'd probably take that consistency over anything else. But Spyglass, if it does get a trail, I mean, it's going to be a danger as well.
Yeah, Brett, VMG McRae for Jess Tubbs as well, also sort of around there as well. How do you sort of see this one? The Highland Harness Colours piece.
Yeah, it's tactically a really intriguing race. I concur with them with Spirit of Arion. I'm a massive fan, and also totally forgive Spyglass last time. They ran a really slow second quarter over 17:20 at Melton. When that happens, the race is over for those back in the field. It just can't happen. So it's a strange sort of race tempo wise. They slowed down really quickly after the first 300. So from the 300 to the 1,000, they went really slow. For the first 1,000 meters of that race. So in this race, which is weird because Spirit of Arion and Arg and Spyglass are all best driven with a sit. So I'm really worried over the 22:40 that we might have a similar race to that one last week with a slow tempo. So I'm mapping Ricuro Slammer to fly across and probably hand up to VMG McRae, and they'll control the race. I still think Spirit of Arion's the best horse in the race, so it might still be able to win because VMG McRae doesn't seem to like finding the post first. So yeah, I'm totally getting out of this race, but yeah, confused by the map.
Yeah, someone who can't get out of the race. Chris Alford, you got the drive upon Spirit of Arion. How do you sort of see this one playing out? You've drawn 5. You've had a win a couple of starts ago. That, as Emmett sort of said there earlier, this stable is flying. How do you sort of see this one playing out?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. Had to drive him out of his comfort zone last week and go forward over the short because they were going so slow, and just had to nurse him in the breeds, and they dashed up 26 and he stuck to it really well. But yeah, I think Spyglass is going to be hard to beat because I can see what did you say holding the front. It went super last week when I drove it from about barrier 12 and ended up in the breeze, got cover and only just got beaten right on the line. So if it's pretty quick out, I think it'll hold the front, and Spyglass is going to get the perfect trip. Just hopefully a couple of the wide ones like Ricuro Slam and might go forward and at least make a bit of lead time anyway, which will give me a better shot.
Yeah, is that what you feel the map sort of tracks towards, Brett?
Oh, I wasn't sure about that one, but I definitely accept Chris's opinion, especially when he drove it last start. So it's a good tip. I'll have a bit of a refresh on that race, but I'm similarly just as confused about the race now. So it's a bit too hard for me, to be honest.
I think we've thrown a cat amongst the pigeons with that one, but I think suppose I might go with this one, Brett. In a word, if you had to pick one right now, who would you go in that 7th?
Well, if Spyglass is behind the leader, and I'll go with Spyglass. It's all right. You made me pick one. I'll pick Spyglass. Just
We'll
what
get to
Chris
that.
said. He's convinced me.
We'll get to that. We might move as well to tonight. Swan Hill Cup. Puppet has a drive in both the cups, so can he give the punters a winning fill-up? We're talking about Swan Hill tonight. We'll start with the Pacing Cup. Sahara Tiger for Chris Alford for Shane Sanderson. You haven't driven Sahara Tiger for Shane, but you have driven it for Debbie Quinlan before. We might go to you last on this one. Brett, I really like Tiger Bandwagon in this one. I think if he gets across and he's good enough, how do you sort of see this one playing out?
I couldn't have Tiger Bandwagon. You just let him walk last week. So he went from a slow 17:20. Now he's got to go to a hard, tough 2700. I think that's a pretty big ask, So Sahara Tiger actually is going quite good. And obviously Chris will know how to drive the horse because it's pretty much a one-trick pony. But Swan Hill is a good track for it and had no luck last start, actually. I'd forget that run. It's some sort of chance and doesn't mind getting up at silly odds every now and again.
Yeah. Emmett, have you got a sort of suggestion in the Pacing Cup here? Swan Hill?
I probably like Wildfire. Just got home too good at Kilmore in the Kilmore Cup. Swan Hill, the Pacing Cups generally run along pretty decent, and it's an open race, so I could probably see him running over top.
Yeah, he drawn out wide, but expected could come with that. Chris, I don't know if you remember the last time. It was the 7th of August, 2021. I've done a bit of research there. But yeah, advice, you probably had a look at a couple of his runs. How do you sort of see this one playing out?
Yeah, looks a pretty tough race on paper. Horses are going to be outclassed. All the sort of down low ones. Pretty much comes down to probably the bottom four. Like a Wildfire was huge against Can't Find a Better Man last time. They only went about half a second slower than Leap to Fame did in the Vic Cup that night. So I think he's the one to beat. But if he has to work too hard and Sahara Tiger can get a good drag up, he should finish in the money.
I thought Leap to Fame was scratched in the Victoria Cup. My memory must be playing up on me.
No. Was it? No, that's right. Sorry, Swayze.
I know what you mean, though. He was massive that night, like a Wildfire. I think he might have won a Swan Hill Cup before. Am I wrong?
I'm pretty sure he would have. Tonkin's like.
I think he has. Probably should have looked it up.
Should have looked it up as well. Hector, Brett, for Andy Gatt. How do you sort of view that? Had a good run in that South Australian Cup, finished second behind Ultimate Vinny. Is it sort of it's a sort of a bit of a throw at the stance, but is he sort of, do you have him in your numbers?
Yeah, he's definitely a chance, but I would have thought Like a Wildfire would have taken care of that race in South Australia if he was there, in my opinion. So, yeah, what Chris has said, Like a Wildfire is pretty much neck and neck with Can't Find a Better Man. You'd hate to think what price Can't Find a Better Man to be in this race, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt. I might move to the Trotters Cup, which is the King of the North at Lollawong Farms Swan Hill Trotters Cup. Chris, you've got Virginia Clowers had to come back and had a win last week. Brett, might start with you on this one. Parisian Artiste, I think Daz might have tipped this one at odds in a place bet, I think, in the Maryborough Cup. How do you sort of see this one sort of panning out?
Yeah, it's a pretty good race, actually. Obviously, it's a shame that for the club that Call Me the Breeze isn't running, but the three pretty good horses, Revel Stoke, Virginia Clouds, and Parisian Artiste. And standing start's going to mean, a little bit of tactical, a little bit of luck early, but there's probably, I would have thought Parisian Artiste and Virginia Clouds are pretty close together. Parisian Artiste has been progressing really well. So it's had 3 runs this prep and everyone's been really good. So it's still on the way up, I'd say. Virginia Clouds has been pretty handy for quite a while. I didn't even know it went to Menangle. Snuck through the air. I would have backed it. $7.50. How did it start $7.50? Crazy. Anyway, there you go.
How much did you pay for
so,
the place?
if I had to lean towards Parisian Artiste, but obviously, yeah, then Virginia Clouds, then Revel Stoke.
Yeah, it just seemed like that. Emmett, I wasn't out at Maryborough, but you definitely were, and you would have, I don't know if you got around and had a look at Parisian Artiste, but how do you see this Trotters Cup playing out?
Yeah, well, I pretty much concur with that. Like Parisian Artiste has been going some great races and really strong company, and he's won this race before. So you probably have to go a little bit with the form for those conditions. But Virginia Clouds will definitely give him some trouble. Like Chris will tell you, he gets on very well with this horse at I think it was Warragul Cup. I was watching it, started like lightning. So and can just bowl the long trip. So it's those two for me. But I'll be going on the standing start form, I think.
Yeah. Chris, off the 20 meters, had a start last start, had a bit of a break. Do you sort of think, I don't know, does the handicap sort of come into play when you sort of think about maps and how you'll run this one?
No, well, these horses are old cup horses. Most of them get away pretty safe. Virginia usually gets away really good, so I'll have to just try and stay in front of Taylor and Prison Artiste. And its run at Maryborough was super. It's going to be very hard to hold out, but as you said, she went to Menangle and won, and then she had a nice quiet trial at Back and Smash last week and was good. So 6-horse fields are always tricky in these long races. They can just single out, and we just need to lob in front of the other one, hopefully.
Yeah, great insight there. My last one is Sharp's Bakery in Birchip Best Bets. Emmett, I'm not sure if you've been to Birchip or not, but the vanilla slice there is treasured. I was out at Birchip and somehow missed the vanilla slice. But Emmett, have you been to Birchip, and are you a fan of the vanilla slice?
No and yes. If there's a vanilla slice around, it's probably doesn't last too long around here. So, yeah. But no, never been to Birchip. That's one place I haven't been able to get across.
Yeah, Chris, have you been at Birchip?
I don't know where it is.
It used to be a witchy proof. It's sort of down that way. And
either.
Is that one of the only cups you haven't won, Chris?
I've never been to Birchip, so yeah, it'd be nice to get up there for the Mallee Bull Cup one day. They have a great day, I've heard, so we'll get up there one day, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm sure the folks at Sharp's Bakery will sort you out real well. Brett, you'd be a local down there, wouldn't you? You'd sort of say just the regular things.
I've been to a few Birchip meetings. They usually have a I think it's $1,000 for the most winning driver who can get the most points, 3-2-1 each race. So Chris, you could get involved in that, get the prize.
Yeah. $1,000 worth of vanilla slices, I think. Emmett, this is your best bet. Do you think the Group 1 was big? If you get this over the line and we get a good one here, we'll be flying. I think it'll put the Group 1 in the rear view mirror. Emmett, where are we going here with your best bet? You can go with me Saturday.
Okay. I think I've got to back myself in here. And if I get a trail and he's a hammer trots, then, I think he can finish it off.
Yeah, massive. What about that? Going with yourself as well. I love the confidence. Chris, where are we going?
Well, this one will be a little bit out of left field, but I think it's had 16 starts this season for 0-0-0. But the trainer tells me it's on song, and cheers to Lou in race 5, number 2 at Swan Hill each way.
Cheers to Lou, race 2-5 at Swan Hill for Greg Norman. Lovely. Have you got one at Melton as well, Chris?
At Melton. Might have to come back to me.
I'll come back to you. We'll go to Brett. You're going to pluck us something, Brett. You said you're a bit of a lean streak here. I
like Cheers to Lou. I like Cheers to Lou at Swan Hill. That's a good tip. I really like one at Geelong in the last today. Quiet Storm, number 10, race 8, number 10, Quiet Storm. Special shout out to Alan Tommy, Swan Hill tonight. First drive back after a pretty ordinary injury in a trial at Bendigo. And also Riley Mitchell, first drive in a race at Geelong, race 3, an Aussie pride, and I reckon he can win. He's Sonia Smith's son, I believe. Yeah. So shout out to them. As far as Melton, I'm forced to tip one because it's a really hard meeting. I know that Marg Lee's going to train the winner of the last, but that's not a very good tip because she's got 2 favourites. So I'm going to tip Kendy's Butterfly, race 5, number 6, Kendy's Butterfly. Just put my faith in Herbie to pull the right rein because it's a tricky map race, but I think it's the best horse.
In Herb we trust. Mr. 300, I think he's walking around with. He's going on Mr. 300 after that 300 season. We're good on Herb. Puppet, can we go back to you for your best at Melton?
Yeah, I'll go Olivici in the Trotters free for all.
Vici, perfect. And I'll go with the, I don't know, just to sort of pump us up a little. I've got Kiang Chucky in the 6th for a place. The Kiang Chucky for Jason Lee as well for a bit of a place there as well. Jump on the Tab website. We'll put something up at thetrots.com.au as well as on all the socials. They give you a bit of an inflated odds for that one, so it'll be great. Emmett, thank you so much for jumping on Burning Questions Week. Hopefully I haven't scared you off.
No, you're right, mate. It's all good. Thank you.
Brett, always a pleasure to get you on, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Dean.
Chris, all the best for tonight, and thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, good as gold. Thanks for having me.
And thanks everyone for watching. Your regular host Tim O'Connor will be back next week. I can assure you that. He's off on a nice little break as well, so we hope you're doing well, Tim. That's Burning Questions for this week. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll catch you next week.